Cool. Well, I have been working with modeling the grid in Kotzebue, Alaska, mostly GIS modeling so far, but also moving into Power Factory and eventually economic modeling. I'd like to, of course, thank my mentors, Mari, Felicia, and also Dane. So to begin, this is in the context of projects working to evaluate how higher penetration of renewables could work in Alaska with Kotzebue as a test microgrid. If you look at the map, Kotzebue is in the Northwest Arctic borough. Actually, going there in May was my first time into the technicality of Alaska's Arctic. Fairbanks is also noted on the map, and I had the opportunity to do a trip to the IPS Connect conference in Cordova, which was fun. So right here, you have one of the products of my internship. You'll see a bunch of little power pole icons and also colored lines. The colored lines refer to which feeder they are on. There's 4 feeders in Kotzebue, and they actually change them sometimes. So last time I was working on this, feeder 1 went out to the wind farm, but I heard yesterday that now, or it used to be feeder 4 went out to the wind farm. Yesterday I was told that it's actually feeder 1 now. So there is some updating that gets to be done. For the research project goals, earlier when I was starting, I talked about this with Felicia, and we came up with all these beginning ones with learning GIS and power systems, creating models, and being able to transfer the GIS into Power Factory. The transfer has been extremely problematic, and we might end up just drawing the feeders in Power Factory for ease of everything. Documenting and organizing all the code and models generated is in progress, and I'll begin techno-economic modeling later. Because we are kind of in the middle of the project, still, I am not writing a report yet. We saw on the last slide the 3-phase power system. There's also single phase that goes from that and then distributes it to the houses that we're going to check out the week of the 22nd. So the bigger picture and how this fits into Acep is working to expand renewables in Alaska and give people reliable and affordable power. We're using Kotzebue as a test case for how wind, solar, and potentially other technologies can fit into this. So for my research methods, I've done quite a few things, a lot of talking to people at conferences, reading reports, random articles on the internet, sections of textbooks, and basically all forms of learning that I know of, I've tried. In Kotzebue, we collected photos of almost all the 3-phase power poles in May, and also the GPS coordinates with that. I've used QGIS for visualizations and a little bit of Power Factory for model and potentially Zendy later, but there's also quite a few limitations, so we might choose another software instead. The lessons learned, challenges include procuring data generally can be difficult. If you're at the place, it's definitely easier, but you can still run into challenges like weather. And once you have data, you can run into problems like getting different softwares to talk to each other and things of that nature. So if I was to start my summer over again, I definitely try and understand more deeply the end goals to inform what data we were collecting and also what we were doing with it, because there were a few dead ends along the way. The other thing is Dane told me to create a really nice file system, and I was like, I don't have that many files. It's not a problem. And I now have that many files, and it is a problem. So I would have done that. General advice is it was quite helpful to network with people around Acep and also the industry in Alaska, because in a lot of ways, you're probably not doing something that's entirely new, but it's putting together things in a new way. So a lot of people can have helpful insights there. Conclusions, some successes were mapping the three-phase power lines in Kotzebue along with transformer data. There were lots of light bulb moments, and I feel like I definitely understand the energy industry in Alaska a lot better, as well as how that affects other things like water and health. Some final thoughts regarding research. I feel like I don't have final thoughts yet. Every time I learn more things, I'm like, oh, there's more questions, and it's a lot of long rabbit holes. So maybe eventually I'll have final thoughts, but still working on things. What did I enjoy least about my research? I'd say being cold. And I sent my presentation to Mari for some feedback, and she was like, didn't even complain that much about being cold. And I was actually wearing good gear. I wasn't that cold, but the rest of the internship's gone so spectacularly. I had to find something to complain about. I enjoyed most about my research getting to work with people in different communities and also understand that we weren't just doing random things on computers, but what we were working on had real effects for the future of Alaska and other communities. So lastly, I'd like to thank everyone who's been helpful. You've been a lovely internship cohort, and also people like Colleen and Jennifer and Leslie helping with travel and everything in the office. And of course, Jeff and Annalise for organizing everything. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious, Lindy, of the many paths that you could take going forward. You have this, or maybe you'll take them all, but dynamical modeling or this planning type modeling using, Homer or Zendy or whatever. What do you most, after this internship, or has it changed what you most want to pursue?
I think today I'm most interested in like planning modeling, but I'm not positive that that'll be the case for a significant amount of the future. I feel like coming in, I didn't really understand the energy industry in Alaska and how it worked and like where different types of technologies and people fit in. But now I feel like kind of the planning is most interesting to me. Other questions?
Press the green button. The question is, explain the importance of modeling these distribution networks to a community. I don't quite understand.
Okay, so a community like Kotzebue, when we went there in May, they did have some maps of their power transmission, but they were very outdated and cryptic. So having more updated maps can help them identify where their problems are and communicate better. It also helps to understand where their assets are and how they could switch things up. But on the research side of things, since we're not in Kotzebue and we don't really remember where all the power poles are and such, it's really helpful to have this type of reference for when we move into power system modeling in places like power factoring.
So we went to Kotzebue with one plan as to what we were going to do. And then we did another plan because we got there and we said, oh, this is what we actually have to do. You get to go back and do ground truthing of the first round of data collection. What do you think would have been, I guess, the right approach for us to walk into that first trip in retrospect?
I think in retrospect, before we got to the airport, we probably should have had a call with Matt and kind of decided what was important based on what existed out there, and also looking at our grants and what type of data we needed. So maybe like a different planning.
Any other questions for? All right, awesome. Well, let's give Lindy. Awesome job, Lindy. All right, well, we're gonna keep the good times moving on here. Our next presenter is Cameron Rowley. Cameron project was rail belt decarbonization, and her mentor was Felicia Cecilio. So welcome to the stage.
How do I click this?
Gonna, right, but you're gonna give me 1 second. I'll let you know when to start.